failed out of college, career changer, 49-year-old pre-med, but now an accepted medical student. Today, I'm introducing you all to a recently accepted medical student who has a very motivational story that is a must watch for anybody chasing after their dreams and have a few roadblocks or hurdles in the way. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, welcome. I am a dermatology resident and I create videos for anyone who's thinking about or currently training in medicine. I give advice based on my own life experiences. However, when I started this channel, a lot of people have been messaging me saying, I'm an older non-traditional pre-med. I'm like 35 years old, or I'm 40, I'm 50. Should I continue on this journey? And of course, I encourage everyone to continue on a journey that they think is for them. However, I did not have the experience of it. And this is why I'm so excited for you guys to meet Daryl Traylor and hear his story, because he's able to talk about his journey and hopefully inspire you all. Don't forget, if you like this video, make sure to press that like button and subscribe to my channel for more informational content. Now, I'm introducing you to Mr. Daryl Traylor.
Hi guys, my name is Daryl Traylor. I am a super non-traditional student. I say that because I'm 49 years old and I've had multiple careers, including 20 years in the military. At the moment, I am a university professor. I teach for A.T. Still University College of Graduate Health Sciences in the Master of Public Health program. Prior to that, I taught for Arizona State University in the College of Nursing, and I taught for Paradise Valley Community College. I've recently been accepted to A.T. Still University School of Osteopathic Medicine, Arizona. Woohoo! I'll be starting in the fall of 2021. So what follows is sort of my story, my journey to medicine, and hopefully I'll end up with some valuable advice that you guys can use as you go forward. So why medicine? That's a long story. I think that the first seeds to my journey to medicine were planted when I was a child. Summer of 1983, my mother was a longtime drug addict, but anyway, my mother passed out. She had been taking some drugs, what have you, and passed out. I thought that she was dead, and I sat there at her side for that whole day, thinking that she was dead, but also wishing that I had the skills or the ability to do something to make a difference in her life. When my dad got home from work that day, we rushed my mother to the ER, and sort of what stands out to me is how the doctors and the nurses in the ER actually had that skill set to make a difference in my mother's life. You know, they essentially saved her life. Since that time, you know, I've had experiences working as a paramedic, working as an Army combat medic. You know, I had the opportunity to deliver a baby when I was doing my combat medic preceptorship. Again, these are all things that have just sort of contributed to that desire to be a physician, that overriding mantra of having the right skill set to be at the right place at the right time to make a difference in somebody's life. Beyond that, like most people, I really want to serve my community. You know, being an African-American male, I realize that there's not many of us in medicine, but I also recognize the importance of having more African-American male representation to the whole institution of healthcare. So that's something that I want to contribute to as well. So before I could get to this point, though, I had to do a lot of growing. I graduated from high school in 1989 and had a football scholarship to Texas Southern University. When I got to campus, I was 17 years old, got to campus and met a young lady who was, I think Rosemary was 24 years old, and I thought I was in love. And so I pretty much started skipping classes after that summer session. Pretty much went to football practice and spent all the rest of my time with Rosemary. So I ended up failing out of TSU, lost my football scholarship. And so my dad said, you know, we don't have the money to put you in school. We didn't send you down to TSU to play around. So you need to grow up and be a man. So you can't come home. I don't know what you're going to do, sleep under a bridge, get an apartment, find a job, enlist in the military. I don't know what you're going to do. You need to figure something out. And so I enlisted in the military. I didn't end up in the Army thinking I was going to have a career as a combat medic, but that's what they offered. They said, well, you can be a cook, or I think culinary specialist is what they called it, or a combat medic. And so I said, well, combat medic sounds pretty cool. And I did that. The Army was useful because it started to give me a lot of confidence that I lacked in my academic abilities. I learned the value of work ethic. I learned the value of working towards a goal and sticking to something even when things get hard. These are all things that I believe that you'll need as you go forward into medical school. And certainly these things have served me well as I finished undergrad, my grad schooling, and now finishing my PhD. Other things that I've done outside of the military, and I've worked in public health, mostly HIV/AIDS research, health education, health promotion. Gosh, I worked at the Poison Control Center when I was an undergrad. I had some jobs working in labs when I was an undergrad. I've done a lot of stuff in social services. I spent 2 terms of service with AmeriCorps Vista in San Francisco and later in Phoenix, Arizona. So I was sort of a jack of all trades, done a little bit of everything. For me, this is important because when people ask, how do you know that you want to be a doctor, particularly at this stage of your life, I can say, look at my resume, look at all the things that I've done. And what I can say is that of all the jobs that I've had, I guess the ones that have brought me the most satisfaction or brought me the closest to having satisfaction have been those jobs that have been involved with direct patient care. So being a paramedic, an Army medic, worked as a CNA for a little while. So for me, going into medicine is just sort of a natural evolution of everything that I've done. You might ask, why do you want to be a physician at this time of your life, particularly given that I'm finishing a PhD, I have an opportunity to probably earn a tenured faculty position at AT Still. You only live once, and I believe that all of us should strive to reach our goals and just ensure that you live a life without regret. I feel that if I didn't at least try to apply to medical school, gain admissions to medical school, and ultimately work my way through medical school, I would probably be in a situation where I would live a life with regrets. There was a time, it's about 12 or 13 years ago, my father and I spoke, and I asked him if he really enjoyed his job, and he told me that at that point, for every day for 32 years, he's hated his job. Now, my dad is a pharmacist. He's damn good at what he does. He's done it for the last 50 years. But just imagine, guys, if you wake up one day and you feel like, gosh, I've hated my job every day for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20, 30, 50, or what have you. My dad is 74 years old now. So the likelihood of him being able to go back and do something else that he really enjoyed is slim to none. And that made a real impression on me. And I said at that point that if there was any way that I could, live my dreams and do the things that I wanted to do, I would do those things. And so that's why I'm headed back to medical school now. I think that it's also very important to make sure that you have a really good support system. My wife, Ebony, has been my strongest, most consistent ally throughout this whole journey. She's wanted me to go to medical school so bad that she actually left public health industry to get a job as an academic advisor at Arizona State University so that she could first start to advise me on how I needed to structure my education to get to medical school. Eventually, she started to learn about pre-health advising and again use that knowledge to help advise me on how to put together an application, what classes to take, and things like that. That also led to her starting to advise other students. At some point in time, after she finished her doctorate, she said, you know what, I'm going to try to take a faculty role at our local medical school, so that I can help you reach your goal. So after she finished her doctorate in 2019, she took a position at AT Still University, School of Osteopathic Medicine, Arizona, as DO/MPH faculty. She was also placed on the admissions committee. And so in that role, she's been able to educate me about things like how to actually interview, what is it that admissions committees are looking for in an applicant, these sorts of things there. And all of that, really has helped to get me to where I am. And so I just say all that to say that none of us is going to get to wherever it is that we want to go alone. It's going to be very important to make sure that you have a really strong, solid support network as you move towards applying to medical school and eventually getting into medical school and getting out of medical school. I don't have any hesitations about doing this at my age, as long as the Lord continues to bless me with strength and wisdom, the energy and the motivation and desire. I plan to do this. Some people might sound crazy to give up a potential tenure track job. But again, you only live once. You have to do those things that make you happy in life so that you don't end up with a life full of regrets. I don't have any hesitations about my age. I guess maybe if there's one, I tend to be the old man of every class. And so it sort of sometimes feels like I have a class of a bunch of children who are always coming to me for advice or what have you. But seriously, though, no, I don't have any sort of hesitations or doubts or anything about pursuing this at this age. So in closing, what I would tell you is that if you really want to pursue medical school, particularly as a older adult, just understand that you can do this as long as you're willing to work hard, as long as you're willing to put out the naysayers. You'll have a lot of people who won't be able to see or understand your vision for where you're trying to go. So you have to block all of that out. I think that you also have to make sure that you have a very realistic plan for getting to medical school. Understand that getting to medical school is not going to be a sprint. This is a marathon. You may have to do some things like pursue a post-bac or pursue an S&P. You may have to do something like go to grad school after an S&P. There's plenty of stories of people who have had to take multiple gap years and do multiple things to repair their GPA, repair their MCAT scores. Make sure that you have a really good, sound, solid financial plan. And that financial planning needs to start long before you ever get to the medical school application process. You've got to start thinking about how you're going to pay for the MCAT, how you're going to pay for your MCAT preparation courses, all of those things. So in any case, I hope all of this information helps. If anybody has any questions, I'm sure that Dr. Douglas can provide you guys with my blog information, which contains my contact info, and you guys can contact me. Peace.
Hopefully that story was as motivational to you as it was to me. I hope you all are excited to continue on your journey, no matter where you are in the journey. And of course, if you like this video, press that like button so we know that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, you can leave comments on my channel. You can message Mr. Daryl Traylor through his blog. And if you're interested in any topics that I haven't covered yet in my videos, let me know. I'm here to help you. All right, y'all. I enjoyed speaking with y'all today, and I can't wait to see you at my next video. Y'all have a good one. Bye.